Good morning, fourth graders. Today is Thursday. Unbelievable, the week is almost gone already. Try to finish up with your IXL stuff in the folders that we sent on Monday. You'll be getting new stuff, new suggestions and things to look at this coming Monday. Remember, I won't be on Hangouts tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I have something that I have to do. Don't forget Prodigy. Read. All right. In our story, the city of Ember, I left off when Clary was with Lena, and they were talking about the seed and how the potatoes are rotten and things aren't looking good for the city of Ember. Okay, Clary, said Lena quickly, here's what I think. Her heart sped up, and she hadn't told this to anyone before. In my mind, Clary, I see a whole new city. Lena watched to see if Clary was going to laugh at her or smile in that overly kind way. She didn't, so Lena went on. It isn't like Ember, Clary. It's white and gleaming, and the buildings are tall and sparkle. Everything is bright, not just inside the buildings, but all around them, too. Even the sky. I know it's just my imagination, but it feels so real. I think maybe it is real. Could it be? Clary said. Where would such a city be? That's what I don't know, or how to get to it. I keep thinking there's a door somewhere, maybe out in the unknown regions, a door that leads out of Ember, and then behind the door, perhaps a road? Clary just shrugged her shoulders. I don't know, she said. I have to get back to work now. Be here, take this. She handed Lena the bean seed and took a little pot from a shelf, scooped some dirt into it, and handed the pot to Lena, too. Stick the bean in here and water it every day, she said. It looks like nothing, like a little white stone, but inside there is life. That must be a clue, don't you think? If we could just figure it out? Lena took the seed in the pot. Thank you, she said. She wanted to give Clary a hug, but didn't in case it would embarrass her. Instead, she said goodbye and raced back toward the city. Chapter 5, on Night Street. Granny's mind was getting more and more muddled. Lena came home in the evenings to find her rifling through the kitchen cupboards, surrounded by cans and jars with their lids off, or tearing the covers off her bed and trying to lift up the mattress with her skinny arms. It was an important thing. Yes, she said. The thing that was lost. The thing that was lost. But you don't know what it is, said Lena. How will you know if you've ever found it? Granny didn't try to answer this question. She just flapped her hands, and Lena said, never mind. Just never mind. Granny kept searching. These days, Mrs. Murdo spent a great deal of time sitting by their window rather than her own. She would tell Granny she was just coming to keep her company. I don't want her to keep me company, Granny complained to Lena. Maybe she's lonely, Granny. Let her come. Lena rather liked having Mrs. Murdo around. It was a bit like having a mother there. She wasn't anything like Lena's own mother, who had been a dreamy, absent-minded sort of person. Mrs. Murdo was mother-like in a quite different way. She made sure they all ate a good breakfast in the morning, usually potatoes with mushroom gravy and beet tea. She lined up the vitamin pills by each person's plate and made sure they were swallowed. When Mrs. Murdo was there, shoes got picked up and put away, spills were wiped off the furniture, and Poppy always had on clean clothes. Lena could relax when Mrs. Murdo was around. She knew things were taken care of. Every week, Lena, like all workers between her age 12 and age 15, had Thursdays off. One Thursday, she was standing in line at the Garden Square Market, hoping to get a bag of turnips for stew that night. She overheard a startling conversation between two people standing behind her. What I wanted, said one voice, was some paint for my front door. It hasn't been painted in years. It's gray and peeling and looks horrible. I heard a store over on Night Street had some. I was hoping for blue. Oh, blue would be nice, said the other voice wistfully. But when I got there, the first voice continued, the man said he had no paint and never had any. Disagreeable man. All he had were colored pencils. Colored pencils? Lena had not seen a colored pencil in any store for ages. Once she had two red ones, a blue one and a brown one. She used these for her drawing until they were stubs, too small for her to even hold. Now she had only one plain pencil left, and it was rapidly growing shorter. She longed to have colored pencils for her pictures of her imaginary city. She had a feeling it was a colorful place, that she didn't know what its colors might be. There were other things, of course, on which her money would be better spent. Granny's only coat was full of holes and coming apart at the seams. But Granny rarely went out, Lena told herself. She was either at home or in her yarn shop. She didn't need a new coat. Did she really? Besides, how much could a few pencils cost? She could probably get a coat for Granny and some colored pencils. That afternoon, she set out for Night Street. She took Poppy with her. Poppy had learned how to ride piggyback, and she wrapped her legs around Lena's waist and gripped Lena's throat with her small, strong fingers. On Budlow Street, people were standing in long lines with their bundles of laundry at the washing stations. The washers stirred the clothes in the washing machines with long poles. In days past, the machines themselves had whirled the clothes around, but not one of them worked anymore. Lena turned up Hafter Street, where the 4 street lamps were still out, and a building crew was repairing a partly collapsed roof. Orley Gordon called out to her from high on the ladder, and Lena looked up and waved. Farther on, she passed a woman with bits of rope and string for sale, and a man pulling a cart full of carrots and beets to the grocery stores. At the corner, a cluster of little children played catch with a rag ball. The streets were alive with people today. Moving fast, Lena threaded her way among them. But as she went into Otterwheel Street, she saw something that made her slow down. A man was standing on the steps of the gathering house, shouting and howling, and a crowd of people had gathered around him. Lena went closer, and when she saw who it was, her insides gave a lurch. It was Sage Morrell. His arms flailed wildly, and his eyes were stretched wide open. In a high-rasped voice, he wailed out streams of words. "I have been to the unknown regions!" he cried. "There's nothing there! Did you think something out there might save us? Ha! There's nothing! There's darkness and monsters and terrible deep holes. Darkness forever! The rats are the size of houses, and the rocks are as sharp as knives. The darkness sucks your breath out of you. No hope for us out there. No hope. He went on like this for a few more minutes and then crumpled to the ground. The people watching him looked at each other and just kind of shook their heads. "Gone mad," Lena heard someone say. "Completely," someone else said. Suddenly, Sage sprang up again and resumed his terrible shouting. The crowd stepped back. Some of them hurried away. A few of them approached Sage, speaking in calming voices. They took him by the arms and led him, still shouting, down the steps. "Who dat?" asked Poppy. "Who dat?" Lena turned away from the miserable spectacle. "Hush, Poppy," she said. "It's a poor, sad man. He doesn't feel good. We mustn't stare." She headed toward Night Street, which ran along Greengate Square. There a stringy-haired man sat cross-legged on the ground, playing a flute made out of a drain pipe, and 5 or 6 believers circled him, clapping and singing. Soon, coming soon," they sang. Who's coming soon, Lena wondered, but she didn't stop to ask. 2 blocks beyond, she came to a store that had no sign in its window. This must be the one, she thought. At first it looked closed, its windows were dark, but the door opened when she pushed on it, and a bell attached to its doorknob clanked. From the back room came a black-haired man with big teeth and a long neck. "Yes," he said. Lena recognized him. He was one who'd given her the message for the mayor on her very first day of work. His name was Hooper. No, Looper, that was it. "Do you have pencils for sale?" she asked. It seemed doubtful. The shop's shelves were empty except for a few stacks of used paper. Poppy squirmed down Lena's back and whimpered. "Sometimes," said Looper. Poppy's whimper suddenly became a wail. All right, you can get down," Lena said to her. She set her on the floor where she tottered about unsteadily. "What I'd like to see," said Lena, "are your colored pencils, if you have any." "I have a few," said Looper. "They're somewhat expensive." He smiled, showing his pushy yellow teeth. "Could I see them?" asked Lena quietly. He went into the back room and returned a moment later, carrying a small box which he set down on the counter. He took the lid off, and Lena bent forward. Inside the box were a dozen colored pencils. Red and green, blue, yellow, purple, orange. They had never even been sharpened. Their ends were still flat. They even had erasers. Lena's heart gave a few fast beats. "How much?" she asked. "Oh, too much for you," said the man. "Oh, probably not," said Lena. "I have a job." "Good," the man said, smiling. "No need to take offense." He picked up the yellow pencil and twirled it between his fingers. "Each pencil," he said, $5. $5? For 7, she could buy a coat. It would be an old patch coat, but still warm. "Oh, that's too much," Lena said. He shrugged and began to put the lid back on the box. "But wait, maybe..." Lena's thoughts raced. "Let me look at them again, please." Once more the man lifted the lid and Lena bent over the pencils. She picked one up. It was painted a deep clear blue, and on its flat top was the blue dot of the lead. The pink eraser was held on by a shiny metal collar. Oh, so beautiful. I could buy just one, Lena thought. Just one. They're so beautiful. I could save a little more money and buy a coat for Granny next month. Make up your mind, said the man. I have other customers who are interested if you're not. All right. Just give me a moment. She tried again to calculate her money. Just one moment. And that's where we're going to stop. See you guys tomorrow.